Have you ever heard someone say, Christ ended the law, and wondered, which law exactly? Many believers struggle because the Bible often speaks about the law without always explaining which law is being referenced. Today, we're going to clearly distinguish between Moses' law and God's law, using scripture so we don't confuse what ended at the cross with what still stands today. The Bible makes an important statement in Romans 10:4, saying, Christ is the end of the law. But the big question is, which law was brought to an end? Scripture shows that not all laws are the same. God originally gave his divine law, but because of rebellion, Israel was later given additional laws through Moses, laws that dealt with rituals, sacrifices, and civil regulations. According to Ezekiel 20:23-26, God allowed statutes that were not good as a response to disobedience, not as his ideal will. Let's clearly identify Moses' law. Moses' law. It is called the Law of Moses, Luke 2:22. It is described as the law contained in ordinances, Ephesians 2:15. It was written by Moses in a book 2 Chronicles 35-12. It was placed beside the ark, not inside it, Deuteronomy 31-26. It was added because of transgressions, Galatians 3:19. It was contrary to us and against us, Colossians 2:14. It made nothing perfect, Hebrews 7:19. And most importantly, it was brought to an end at the cross, Ephesians 2:15. Moses' law dealt with rituals, sacrifices, feast days, food laws, and ceremonies, all pointing forward to Christ. Now, let's look at God's law, which Scripture treats very differently. God's law. It is called the law of the Lord. Isaiah 5:24. It is called the royal law, James 2:8. It was written by God himself on stone, Exodus 31:18. 32 minutes and 16 seconds. It was placed inside the Ark of the Covenant, Exodus 42:20. It defines sin, Romans 7:7. 3:20. It judges all people, James 2:10-12. It is spiritual, Romans 7:14. It is perfect and life-giving, Psalms 19:7. And Jesus said it endures forever, Luke 16:17. This law is the 10 Commandments, spoken by God himself. Jesus answered this clearly in Matthew 5:17-19. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy but to fulfill. Jesus was not abolishing God's law. He was living it perfectly and revealing its true spiritual meaning. He also said that as long as heaven and earth remain, not even the smallest part of God's law will pass away. Here's the clear biblical conclusion. Moses' law, with its ordinances, rituals, and regulations, ended at the cross. God's law, the 10 Commandments, was never abolished. God's law is not a means of salvation, but an expression of love, faith, and obedience, as outlined in Exodus 22:1-17. Believers are still called to honor God's commandments, not to earn salvation, but because salvation has already been given through Christ. Understanding the difference between Moses' law and God's law protects us from confusion and helps us walk faithfully in truth. Let us obey God not out of fear, but out of love for the one who saved us. If this message has blessed you, strengthened your understanding, or answered questions you've struggled with, follow and join our community at Njeri Church. Let's continue growing together in truth, Scripture, and obedience to God's Word.